Click away, they got everything set up.
Okay, alright. Well, guys, we'll see you on the other side, and we hope that you enjoy this educational experience.
Hello, good sir. Are you there?
Oh, just a moment. Oh, sorry about that. I was just making sure my tea was up to proper temperature before we proceed here. How are you today, Cold? Please tell me, how are you?
I'm not too bad, actually. I tried one of them new American drinks. It was called a 5-hour energy.
Oh, 5-hour energy. Oh, please do tell me. Tell me the details of this lovely beverage.
Well, actually, a pretty good story about that. I tried it, and it works marvelously. I got this nice berry one in front of me. But then I said, why not take it one step further? So I got a couple of them, and I brewed my tea with them instead of using water today. And I actually got halfway to work before realizing that I left my car.
Oh my gosh, what a pickle. You, sir, live on what some might say the old dangerous side, I believe, of course, yes. Once knew a stuntman. He went by the old name of Dangerous Doug. Quite a young chap he was, of course.
Oh, yes.
So, of course, here we are. We're here to broaden your minds around the old English language. We're here to give you the new boost, to keep you on the cutting edge of the ever-evolving slang terms of the old English language with the old Oxford edition, of course, of the Urban Dictionary.
The only edition that we could absolutely use.
Absolutely, of course. So ladies and gentlemen, tonight we come at you with a little bit of a bonus. We want, we've just been getting so much positive feedback here from all of our terms and words that we're going to actually include a third bonus induction tonight. So I'm quite happy about that. So
it should be a good one.
Oh, of course, yes. So the first entry, of course, will be a term that most are quite familiar with. It's actually a term that it resides from the old US of A, and it's actually got an old US of A reference. It's called the classic Cosby sweater. Have you ever heard of the old Cosby sweater, cohort?
Or are you talking about the colorful woolen ones that he wears?
Oh, of course, yes. So for your viewing reference, of course, over here on the left-hand side of the screen, we shall put up an old Cosby cartoon picture representing what some might call an old classic format of the old Cosby sweater. So,
very colorful indeed.
Absolutely. So for those of you that may be a little behind the times, Bill Cosby is actually a young African-American. He's not young per se now, but in his prime, he was a young man. He was a stand-up comedian. He was a young African-American man that was kind of known for being a little off the wall with his own version of the English language, saying, ooh, video pudding pops and things like that. Things of that nature.
Don't forget, he also enjoyed his hoagies, I believe the Americans call them.
Oh, hoagies, of course, yes. So anyway, the old Cosby sweater, how is it being applied in today's lesson, of course? So as you guys know, the old Cosby sweater is a very unnaturally bright, colorful sweater. There's even a holiday for this occasion, I believe. It's called National Cosby Sweater Day.
Yes, yes.
Yes, of course. So the following entry reads as follows. The old Cosby sweater. The sexual act of eating a bunch of Fruit Loops, perhaps Fruity Pebbles, even Trix if that tickles your fancy, or any other bright, colorful cereal in your morning consumption, of course. So these bright-colored breakfast cereals play a pivotal role in executing a proper Cosby sweater. So what do you do after you consume this cereal? You then vomit tacky, dazzling mixture onto your partner's chest. The result should look similar to an incredible Cosby sweater that Bill Cosby himself wore during his hardly successful 1980s run of The Cosby Show. So basically, we need you to consume a very colorful cereal and then regurgitate it on your partner's chest, and therefore your vomit would be very colorful and bright on your partner's chest, representing an old Cosby sweater type apparel. So do you have anything to add to this lovely experience, cohort?
Well, the only thing I can think of to say is that I really don't know which one would be warmer. The Cosby sweater, the actual woolen or cotton sweaters that he wears on his shows and around the house, or the heat of the stomach bile that's coming up.
Oh, of course, yeah. So for your viewing reference again, in case this one caught your fancy and you desire to pull the old Cosby sweater on your loved one, maybe a bit of a ruse in place, you may buy the following cereal. It happens to be quite possibly the most effective one in my personal experience. The old Fruity Pebbles. Yes,
Fruity Pebbles.
And you
one
can't
of the best
miss
cereals
it
on the market.
when you got a classic set of gentlemen like Fred Flintstone and Barney Rubble on the front with their big old gentleman smiles. You cannot miss the old Fruity Pebbles experience, and your partner will very much appreciate the extra color that Fruity Pebbles brings to the table when you execute regurgitating the Fruity Pebbles on your partner's chest and giving her her own personal Cosby sweater.
Or he, we do not judge here.
Absolutely, yes, of course. It could be, if you live the alternative lifestyle, the homosexual way, your partner, your male cohort, of course, may enjoy his own Cosby sweater. It's a unisexual move. There's really no limit here. So, with that entry, I believe we may be ready to move on to our newest entry, of course.
Yes, I'm actually terribly excited for this one.
Oh, of course, yes. This will be our bonus entry tonight. This word, another import from the old US of A, very classic term, and actually originated in the middle of the 90s, which everybody tends to love, the old 90s.
Yes,
decade.
Of course.
Many, many great things came through, of course. So our next entry is going to be called the Chicago Waffle. Okay, so, and we all know Chicago as the old Windy City. You know, the most classic of baseball teams has played there. I believe it's, what do they call them? The old Chicago Cubs, is that right?
I'm not terribly a big follower of the baseball in America, I'm sorry.
I'm
more of a cricket man myself.
Of course, cricket's simply baseball for gentlemen, I believe.
Yes, of course, less running too.
Oh, of course. So here we are with our next entry. So just, for more visual cues and more visual references, a classic Belgian waffle will look a little something like this. It looks absolutely delicious. You got some, butter on there, of course. You got this little bit of syrup, and it's just sitting in there. Classic beverage, not beverage, of course, but a classic breakfast that most people in the West would consider absolutely delicious, of course. So what is the old Chicago waffle? We actually have a little bit of history. We went back, we dove in. So apparently,
quite an extensive record we had to go through for
absolutely.
This one.
So a gentleman by the name of Seth Smith, who is a very classic all-American man.
The good old SS. Who doesn't love the
he
SS?
was attending the University of Chicago back in 1995. Apparently he had a dickhead, as he quoted it. He absolutely said he had a dickhead roommate. So exactly, when you live with someone that's of the dickhead variety, of course, you must do something. You must up your game if you're going to establish that you are not a member that likes to be rused on, or as you Americans put it, fucked with, I believe, is the proper term for such a situation.
Yes, they seem to use that term for many, many things.
Absolutely. I do not like to be rused on, apparently, myself, so I do not even like to be fucked with, as you Americans call it. But anyway, so Seth Smith, he apparently took things to the next level and actually ended up with his own entry into the old Urban Dictionary here. So what is a Chicago waffle, exactly? So I will read as follows. It's the act of taking a poo on your roommate's keyboard or laptop and then closing the lid on the old laptop. So for your viewing reference, exactly, here is exactly what a classic laptop keyboard would look like. And as you can tell, the keys are of a square shape and therefore representing somewhat of a waffle type texture there. So when you drop a fresh load on the keyboard and then you shut the lid on it, when you reopen the lid, you will of course have poo in the texture format of a classic Belgian waffle. And since this happened back in 1995 at the old University of Chicago, and it was infinitely, spread. It was infamous. The move was applauded around the community. The term the Chicago Waffle was actually coined for this experience here. And we tip our hat to old Seth Smith.
Yes, quite coincidentally, I believe he was the only college student who has ever received the key to the city for such an act.
Oh, absolutely. He was a little bit of a celebrity back in the mid-90s for this act, of course.
Yes, the way it tied in, that we knew the dean. He was a personal friend of ours. He went to Oxford with us, and he was part of the Gentlemen's Society. So we saw the potential for that one, and we just shoved him and gave him a little nudge in the right direction.
Oh, absolutely. And the old Chicago Waffle, it personally might be one of the greatest ruses that one could pull on quite an asshole such as the old roommate of Seth Schmidt. So of course we move forward here with our final entry of tonight. And tonight's final entry is actually a little bit of a story behind this one. Just about all these terms have the common story behind them. So this one actually comes wayward of the old which is that area on the old West Coast where people film movies and celebrity-like.
I believe that it might be Hollywood.
Oh, Hollywood, of course.
Hollywood, yes.
Yes, of course. The old Southern California, I believe it's called. So anyway, this next move comes from a classic gentleman of old Hollywood. I believe his name goes by Daniel DeVito. Is that correct? Did I say that right, Cohort?
I believe he actually goes by Danny.
Oh, it's not Daniel, of course. Yes, Danny DeVito.
I'm not sure if his full name would happen to be Daniel or not, but I do know for his stage name he actually goes by Danny.
Okay, so his stage name is, of course, Danny DeVito. He's a small little firecracker, that man.
Known for his works in one of the Batman movies with he was the Penguin.
Oh, of course, yeah, the Mongol, I believe. That's his most gentleman-like role, of course. But anyway, the old DeVito was quite the sex magnet back in the old day, of course, and he was happening to shag the most popular pop star of that era back in the old 80s, I believe it was. Something by the name of Madonna, of course. She was if you bring it to modern times, she was the Lady Gaga of the 80s. Many say that even Lady Gaga is just a rework, a rehash of the old Madonna days, of course.
Yes.
So of course our young stud, Mr. DeVito, is just, having his way with the lovely Madonna, of course. And he's just, doing a classic, round of intercourse with her, but then things got a little bit different. So he began to move around to different parts of the room, experimenting with different situations and different positions, and he ended up getting Madonna up against the wall, and she was bending over, and of course Mr. DeVito was doing his old gentleman's duty and just giving it to her, as they say, of course, He's sticking his little cohort in her vaginal canal, of course, yes. So anyway, Mr. DeVito is, of course, a man of small gravital center here. We're talking about a smaller human being than average. So Mr. DeVito can get those lower angles that are a little bit more challenging for your average height human male, I believe. So anyway, Mr. DeVito then exited from the old vaginal canal while Madonna was pressed up against the old wall, and he accidentally got too low a center of gravity and inserted his small cohort, as we call it, inside the old rectum on accident, of course. So what happened
never
is...
a good thing when that happens.
Yes, of course. So tonight's injury is called the Gecko, of course. So geckos are known for being able to traverse along parallel surfaces, of course. They can even go on ceilings. Basically, they can climb on just about anything, the little buggers, of course. So when Mr. DeVito stuck his little cohort in the old rectum, Madonna had a little bit of a surprise reaction, and she began to crawl up the wall herself like a gecko, of course. So for your visual reference again, we'll put a little picture of a gecko in the corner there, climbing up the old wall. A little bit of a, just imagine old Madonna back in her prime, getting a little cohort stuck in her pooper, taking an old climb up the old wall there. So that is exactly where the beginning of the gecko term was originated, of course, but as read from the Urban Dictionary, let's not stray too far from what we do here, which is provide educational material from the actual source of the Urban Dictionary. So when you're fucking a chick doggy against the wall and you pull out and stick it in her arse, without warning her, and her arms and legs may wave around menacingly like she's trying to climb up the wall like a gecko. So as used in a sentence, you should have seen my little bird do the gecko last night after I stuck my little cohort in her ass. Without notice, she tried to scramble up the wall like a gecko, and it was quite the experience, of course. Yes, so that's it, used in a sentence. Do you have anything to add about the old gecko there, cohort?
Yes, I was actually doing some research on it as you were talking, and it seems that this may have been the inspiration for one of the largest, what are they, the insurance company, they call it
Gecko, of
Gecko.
course, yes.
Yes, it seems that Madonna, back in this time, actually took some inspiration when she heard of the term and learned where it came from, and said, you know what? That could be a good name for a company. I want to insure people who may fall victim to this same act and need to go to the hospital if it was a larger cohort and may have caused some tearing in the rectum. And she started an insurance company called the Gecko, modeled off the gecko.
Oh, I did not know that. What a lovely addition to tonight's program.
She specifically said she wanted to do car insurance because people were always getting rear-ended.
Oh, by little cohorts, of course.
By little cohorts.
Yes, by little cohorts. So with this, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to wrap up this edition of the Urban Dictionary. We hope that tonight your mind has been expanded upon learning about the old Chicago Waffle, the gecko, and of course the classic Cosby sweater.
Oh, the Cosby sweater.
Yes, of course, one of my favorites. So everybody,
Nice and warm.
good night, and thank you.
Have a great day. All right, man.
Well,
You back? Yeah.
well,
Gecko.
Gecko.
Well, now we know where the damn company came from.
we really do. We really do. I mean, the Cosby sweater? What is that? Like, who's gonna think of that?
The internet, man. The internet.
The internet's a magical place. It really, really
Except
is.
for 4chan, we don't go there.
We lost almost all of our viewers, by the way.
Yeah.
Fucking people bailed on that shit.